All right, we are live, and the New York Mets, let's be honest, are kind of the New York Mets right now. They're meh. They're dead. We're winning games. We're losing games. Offense just goes to sleep when it wants to. Occasionally, you have a pitcher, more than likely Hauser, blow up, and that's the end of the game. However, we find a way to, keep things cool and refreshing all throughout the summer, and that's because we are sponsored by Coors Light, the beer that is made to chill. We've been saying it a million times. There are plenty of chances in life to make things better by choosing chill, and God knows we need it as New York fans of the orange and blue, whether it's the baseball team, whether it's the basketball team, and according to my
God knows the hockey team.
God knows the hockey team. So you always got to be drinking your Coors Light. Coors Light was in my hand as I was watching the New York Knickerbockers and the New York Islanders have some crazy end of game bad luck, I guess we'll call it. I don't know, execution. So get yourself your Coors Light whenever you need to chill. New York, choose chill and reach for a Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. But you know what goes great with the Coors Light, my friend? A big old hot dog. And we have an absolute legend. We had, was that last week or 2 weeks ago? We had the Rally Pippin. And now we have the hot dog king of New York.
Let's go, baby.
Break from his welding shop.
The man who incited a hot dog riot. I think you're the only person in history to do that. He said he's taking the early lunch. He's got his whole gear on right now. What exactly do you do for work, if you can say?
I'm a welder. I can't say exactly. It's a big New York company.
Okay, so taking a break from welding to come talk about how you ate. The count on the shirt said 19. Was that the official count?
It was beers and dogs. So it was 10 beers, 9 dogs.
Got it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense because I was saying to myself, he's also had a couple beverages in there as well.
Yeah, I walked out. I did walk out. I was on 2 feet, man.
That's awesome. How old are you?
28.
28. And when so they announced this Dollar Dog Day, if you don't know, April 30th was Dollar Dog Night at Citi Field. They made a big deal of it. They had the posters with Seymour Wiener and it said "Come eat a wiener" or whatever. So when were you like, was this a plan? Did you have this, or was this like?
Oh, dude! As soon as this Dollar Dog Night got announced, I was like, 999. We're fucking hitting it.
Go.
I texted all my buddies. I mean, I wanted to do it for the longest time, but you go to the game, you're paying like $300 to do it with beers and dogs, Mm-hmm. So this was the perfect fucking opportunity.
Now wait, but did you make 9 innings or did you get the boot?
Got the boot, dude.
I gotta do it again.
Steve Cohen, where are you at? I gotta get redeemed.
You know what? I will do this. If you want another attempt, I will pay for everything at the stadium.
Let's get it, KFC.
I will pay for your $9.99 if you want a chance to get the official. I mean, I'm gonna give it to you. You had 10 dogs, 9 beers. You would have made it 9 innings. The cops intervened. Dude. But if you want the official, I will put up the credit card.
Now, was that from the first inning?
Everyone said, "Oh, you must have been hurt and it must have been terrible." Dude, I think I can do it again tomorrow.
Really?
Yo, I got that dog in me.
That's blue collar. He's not sitting behind a desk.
He's always blue collar, baby. Shout out Jersey. Shout out Jersey.
When did the raining of hot dogs begin? Was that, did you start that? Did someone else start that? How did that happen?
Was it incited?
Yeah, the riot. When did you incite it?
So, I mean, I had the shirt, so pretty much everyone in the whole section, they knew what was going on, dude. I mean, like, every beer I would stand up and everyone around me would cheer. I think in, like, the 4th inning, we made the Jumbotron. My buddy poured a beer on me. So, I mean, the whole stadium was already on me. Shout out my buddy. He did 7 hot dogs. He couldn't finish. 7 hot dogs, 10 beers. He was right there.
Oh, right at the finish line. So, wait. So, at some point in this game, you probably had, let's call it 6 or 7 beers, 7 or 8 dogs in you, and you're soaked in a Bud Light, in a Coors Light.
Soaked, bro.
That is unbelievable,
That's why
dude.
people said that I looked like I had the meat sweats. It's because I was covered in fucking beer.
Yo, I'm so happy other people do shit like this because I would fucking hate this so much. Oh, my God.
Dude, you have no idea. I talked to so many kids that were like, "Yo, we're doing the same challenge. We're doing this." It was a war zone with hot dogs out there, man.
Bro,
Like,
we're
44,000 sold.
44,000, yeah. And there had to only been like 20,000 people there. That's like 2 dogs per man.
Were there like crazy lines, or was it just like boom?
Nah, the lines were insane. I went once and I just got all my 9. I just had 9 ready to go.
So you were eating cold dogs too?
Cold dogs,
grosser
bro.
And grosser, man.
I was dunking them in the beer, Kobayashi style. I was doing whatever I could.
Were you going
We
raw
got 'em
dog,
down.
or do you have a condiment of choice?
Never ketchup.
Never ketchup.
I think-
boy.
First 2 I put mustard on, and then I was just raw dog. And shout out Frank. That's it. But yeah,
When they started throwing them, how, like, did you? Was that a buddy who started it? I mean, people were throwing them from rows away.
upper deck, man. Upper deck. Yeah.
I got a text message saying that you were there with your brother, or they thought somebody that was with you threw the first one, and then it just.
Oh, no,
waterfall
man.
around,
I mean,
bro.
I really like hot dogs, bro. What can I
No
do?
way,
With the prop, I love it.
I mean, I have to imagine, you're sitting with your buddies and they're doing the challenge, so they're fucked up and they're having fun too. But there's got to be people in the rows around you just getting whacked with dogs, being like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yo, it was a war zone. I was with my girlfriend. Shout out her.
No.
I don't know.
Your girl was there?
Yo, in the video where I'm getting pulled up by the cops, she's with me. She's up holding my hand, talking to the cops.
Bro, put a ring on that.
Ride
girl
or
right
die.
now, 'cause if
Lock
Right
it
up.
down.
with you for that. That's fucking. You had your girl there when you incited a hot dog riot?
Hot dog, right? She loves it. She called me the hot dog guy.
Oh my
It was
god.
the white Brooks
It's the best,
Brothers
man.
shirt just pulls it all together too, because
Yeah.
it was like, I got nothing else to go with. Might as well just. It's got to be hung in the rafters at this point.
Oh, for sure.
Yo,
you
I
have
want-
to. You
yeah.
have to keep that.
You should.
No, I
put
want
that
them
in
to
a
hang it up
frame.
there.
Yeah.
Next to me, next to everyone. My
Get in the
jersey
K corner.
in the
Yeah.
K corner. I like that.
We should put that. We should try to get that in the stadium. That would be. I mean, it's one of those things. Anytime the stadium does dollar anything, we know the infamous story. I think it was Philly that did dollar beer night, or it was like
Yeah,
penny
and
beer
I knew
night
it-
back in like the 50s.
Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah, and it was
Well,
like,
Philly did the dollar dogs last year,
and it's
now
always.
I guess
I
they
mean,
can't do it anymore.
It never. I was gonna say it never goes well. It's always a fiasco. You do
Yeah.
it once, and then you're like never again. But it also, like, from a marketing point of view and stories and all that shit, like if the team embraces it, it's actually pretty cool. But you got to
That's
worry
great, man.
about this kind of shit going on. So
Yeah, I mean, I had so many. When I was walking up, people were like, "Oh, they're never gonna do this again because of you."
oh
Blah,
fuck,
blah,
you know what
blah.
they should do though? They should
They
take.
should. Why
exception-
wouldn't they?
They
I
should,
mean, if they weren't throwing them at me, they were gonna throw them at someone.
I was
people
gonna say,
People were loaded with hot dogs, dude. Loaded.
when you just have an abundance of hot dogs, they're going somewhere.
And like the video breakdown is you being like, I'm the one getting fucking tossed. Like
Yeah.
I was the one eating them.
I mean, I'm saying this. The cops kind of saved me because I was gonna eat every hot dog they threw at me.
oh my god, Pick 'em
They
up
were
all
throwing them, and
around.
I was taking bites left and right. The cops pulled me out of there. I was gonna die.
Did they? So you got like escorted out? You weren't like kicked out. They were just like, you got to go.
Yeah, escorted. They said I could go back to games. That's what I was worried about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And
they're
then,
good.
but like, so they bring you out to an exit, and they're just kind of laughing, and we're like, have a good night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next we're on. I went next door and watched the end of the next game. That sucked
Oh.
too.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Imagine that. So imagine that, Clem. The end of that game. You've just been kicked out of the Mets game. You're covered in beer and dogs. You have 10 and 9 in you, and then you watch the Knicks blow that. Holy shit!
Brutal, dude.
I felt awful enough waking up after that Knicks game just from the misery. I didn't have 8 billion milligrams of sodium running through my body.
Yeah, man, you're not like bloated from salt and shit.
I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to be out here, dude.
Oh, what blue collar grit.
It was
This is
always
the guy.
blue collar, man.
Rolling ball right here. Holy. So, and you were fine. No hangover, no dog over, no nothing.
Bathroom hurt like yesterday when I got home.
I would imagine.
It
yeah.
took a minute. It took a minute, but I
And
mean,
Ken-
I was ready, dude. I didn't eat a single thing all day yesterday or all day Tuesday.
Yeah.
I was ready for just dogs, man. So I think it took a while to get through me. Once it got to the bottom, it was tough.
And Kev, you know, like 28 is when you start, like, you know, the hangover start lasting more than a day or two.
Well, the thing is, so here's the thing. I think 28 is the point where you either become a normal person or you learn about yourself that you're one of the freaks. That you have
I might be a freak, bro.
Yeah.
Give me more beers and dogs. I'm here for it.
The fact that he's totally fine, woke up at 5, like if I did that, at 28, I could probably still do it. If you were like 30 plus and you did that, I would call you a freak no matter what.
I told them I was trying to go to the game. That was gonna be my plan. I ended up not being able to go because my buddy got delayed at the airport. And I'm watching you do it. I was like, that might have been godsend.
So watching him do it, do you think does that give you hope or give you pause?
I fully just think I can do it, but like the fact that he did that many in less than 9 innings, like you were putting him down fast.
What inning did you get kicked out?
In between the 8th and 9th. So I didn't see the 9th.
So you were right there. You were right there.
It's already cut off. The beer's already cut off then. So
I had beers ready. I know what
Listen, don't insult this man. Don't insult him. Come on.
Sorry.
It's like when the pitcher goes 8 innings in the no-hitter, the other guy closes it out, but it's against the 7, 8, 9.
It was your night. It was your night.
He got his no-hitter.
I still wanted to see the last inning. I mean, that's kind of messed up, man. I didn't do nothing.
Yeah, wait. So are you a diehard Mets fan, or are you just out to park for the night, or what's where?
I'm pretty diehard. I don't get out to a lot of games. I live in Pelham, so when I can get out there,
You live in Pelham?
From there?
Yeah, I went to high school there.
No kidding. Yeah, my girlfriend went to high school there. I moved in with her.
Is she your age?
My age, yeah. You probably don't know her.
So I wouldn't know her, yeah. Wow, well, small world, man.
Yeah. But, yeah, pretty diehard. I mean, I was at the World Series game when we lost at 15. I was at the wild card game, DeGrom's last game.
All right, yeah, so you're a real one. I assume so. If you plan your dog night at Citi Field, you're probably pretty hardcore.
This is the guy, man. Like, we have a lot of, like, fan faces of the franchise, and let's be honest, our coworker has kind of, like, assumed the role for one sect of the fan base. A welder who goes to Dollar Dog Night, hammers him down with beers, gets kicked out without incident, and then goes and fucking straps on his hard hat for 5 a.m. That's a guy. And him, we got the rally pimp. Seymour Wiener apparently loves all this fame. I said we'd get him on the pod if he knew how to work a fucking computer. We'd have to talk on a rotary phone, I think, to talk to Seymour. So it's like, I feel like the Avengers, like, Mets fans are coming through the portals now. We're starting to get the people I want to represent.
Dude, I said it. If the podcast this year can be the year of the circus where we bring in all the clowns, I would love it. And these are the guys you want. Like you said, hard hat, welder, salt to the earth. If you're like, you do that for the Yankee fan and it's like corporate, buttoned up.
Or it's an Italian boomba.
We don't want last night.
You don't want that.
Yeah, fuck that noise, man.
But get us all together, man. I'll go with the pimp. I want Fleming, man. That's what I want. I don't know why he wasn't there. I was looking for him the whole night.
It is kind of for the king. Dollar Dog Night. He's not there.
That should be like you think his hot dog king. He should be there.
Yeah.
I didn't see Joey either.
It goes without saying. We will. You can come to any Barstool at the ballpark you want. We'll get Frank out there.
We doing them this year? I haven't even looked.
Yeah, well, we were late to the game planning them, and then we didn't hear from them for a little bit. Just like yesterday, I think we finally locked in some dates. So we'll have probably like 4 or 5 of them this year.
Sick, man.
So
I'll be there.
Any of those. And yeah, man, like I you know what? There's a small part of me that bets that Rally Pimp is like, fuck. Man, like someone else came through and stole a spot.
He's cool. He's doing his own thing. I'm doing my own thing, man. I'm just trying to have a good time. Drinking beers.
Whether it's Barstool the ballpark or another game, we need to do the Avengers Assemble plan and get all these guys in one room. I don't know what'll happen. The stadium might implode or something, but we got to get all of the Mets characters in 2024 in the stadium together.
Yeah, man. I want to be on the raw dogging with Frank too.
I think we have to make it happen. I mean, I don't see why he would say no, but we'll link you 2 guys up and you can be
get it, baby.
Hot dog. Frank's gonna be like, I got to get the hot dog guy in sometime between my walk with the president and fucking big time.
I don't know. He'd be hurting after what I did. That'd be a lot of walking, man. Taking months to get over that.
All right, bro. Well, it was an amazing performance last night. We appreciate you taking some time out of work. Get back to that welding, bro.
Yeah. One more thing.
Yeah.
We didn't win last night. I'm not saying Frank got cut off. He couldn't watch the 9th and 86. I couldn't watch the 9th of my game.
Oh.
Could be a hot dog curse we got going on, boys.
You ain't wrong.
Keep going. Fix this.
Blame the NYPD, bro. Blame the NYPD.
Ease his pain. Ease his pain.
All right, bro. Good stuff, man.
Cheers, boys.
Have a good one.
Just slagging it down.
What a legend, bro. The without any extra details, just watching the videos, what he did, that would have been an awesome story. Seeing what with his girl, 5 a.m. wake up, welder. That is the girlfriend is insane. The girlfriend is nuts. To have your
she was standing there front and center taking videos of the crowd.
Oh, I did not know that was his girl. That is the icing on the cake to me. That is so fucking funny. You do that stuff with the boys. You don't do that when you're out with your girl. It's hilarious.
And he's going in wearing the shirt. It's not like he just sprung it on her. Like she signed up for it.
She knew. She absolutely knew. That's a ride or die.
You do it with the boys. You don't do it with a girl. You do it with the girl. I could do it with my girl because my girl, I knew she was the girl, and because she's ride or die like that. She was the one who'd be like, "Oh, let me get some glitter for your shirt. We'll really spruce it up." Like they're thinking next level shit. Trying to make this shit like pop. So
I didn't want to say at 28. Maybe you start to get some pressure. I don't want to put him in a hole. But I was about to say, put a ring on that, bud, because if she's cool with you going to hot dog night, looking like that, smelling like that, getting kicked out, she'll be with you, through it all.
Imagine like she's talking to her parents and like, "Oh, what'd you do last night?" "Oh, decided a hot dog ride. I got hit in the head with 17 aluminum foil wrappers."
Well, and I got cut off at one point. I do think if they do this again, you need to put the animals in a section.
Yes.
You need to have like a pen, like a zoo pen, and give them that 7-line section or the party deck. Because I can understand if like you're sitting next to, Aunt May and Uncle Steve and you're fucking getting hit with, hot dogs. You're like, what? I'm just here to see the Mets. And all of a sudden you're getting rained pork and beef on you. So
did you see the one dude doing his scorecard as they were flying over his head? It was this old man like Clemmer with fucking filling out his scorecard.
I love it. That's amazing.
It was smart that they did it midweek. Because if it was Saturday, they wouldn't have been able to corral anybody.
Like you said, it was only like 20,000 people. If that's, I didn't even think that. When I saw 44,000, I was like, oh, it must have been a sellout. And like everybody went and got their dog. Of course not. Nobody just gets one dog. Everybody doubles up. So yeah, that was probably only 20,000 people. If you have a sellout and you almost need like a new system. Like when we do Barstool at the ballpark, when we used to do it, unfortunately, they had to switch to taps. But when it used to be cans, they would just go literally, they would just go back and forth on rows of cans of beer, and they wouldn't stop the whole game. So there was no line. Now you got to pour it and wait, and you have the foam and all that, and it really does take some time. But dogs, they should just have them wrapped in the foil. And they just like keep sliding down the thing under like the heat lamp, and you just take them and go. Put 4 quarters down and go. 4 quarters down and go.
I've never done that. Just keep like a third base
green light.
Keep them going. And this is like the hidden thing that he's done. This fucker obviously did the day after he got the welding helmet on 5 a.m. Today, taking an early lunch for a blue collar job, no less. That fucks up your whole day, Kev. In the cubes, I would try to just wait for lunch and go as late as possible. So then the end of the day was just straight up fast forward mode. You pull the trigger early. We've all done it, and then you're just sitting there looking at that clock.
This means he's getting back to work at maximum noon, and so then you have a full,
A lot of them like to work through lunch so they can just go home early because it's like 2 o'clock because they start so early. So now his whole day's extended for that.
Dude,
so
I love
thank you for that.
He had the dog cocked and loaded, but he waited halfway through and pulled it out. He didn't play that card right away. He was like, I'll use it at the right time.
He's a showman. Just like the rally pimp. We're accruing quite a ring of honor on him.
By the way, he was there for the game because obviously his last name's also Wiener. So the Mets threw a mic in his hand and he went around and interviewed people as they were getting their hot dogs at the game that night. So they're just like the Mets. The Mets brought him on for the night, threw a mic in his hand and a camera, and he went around interviewing people for $1 Dog
right.
Since his last name's Wiener.
Okay, also. God. Oh, so
not Seymour.
I thought you were about to say this dude was. I was like, wait, what? I love it. Like I do give them credit. The Mets. I don't know. I wish I knew a little bit more, but like I had a call with them a couple weeks ago with like the CMO and his like right hand man. and we see them using, and they were like, we want to do stuff, and we, what can we do to like just be more in with you guys and like, utilize the internet and all that shit. And so I don't know if it's those guys, but like they made that call. I see Seymour Wiener on the poster, which some people would like. The old Mets would have been like, that's offensive and that's a veteran and we can't do that. And I'm sure there was a couple people chirping, but you just go, who fucking cares about them? Like, let's just have some fun. The rally pimp was causing controversy with losers like Andy Martino, and they were like, fuck it, let him interview people. Like, that's the stuff, my theory on this stuff is you either don't do any of it, don't do any gimmicky shit, you don't do anything to try to have extra fun and just like, let's just be about business. Or if you do it, let's have some real fun. And this is what gets people going, not like corny shit, not chintzy shit. This is, let the rally pimp fucking chat the people up.
I don't think they've missed so far this season because they have the new veteran dog today too. And they came up with the name. Oh, you can't see it. It's Buddy from Buddy Harrelson.
Oh, love
passing
that.
away too. So they're just like they're thinking a step ahead for the first time in our lifetime, which is
and
when was the last time we saw the Photoshop sorry for our employee? Like those days are gone, thankfully.
They should do something like that for fun, like a joke sometime. Lean into that. But yeah, it's not hard either. It's like, what do people like? Dogs. Literally dogs, and then the food, dogs. And they like this guy in the funny outfits. Let's do something. This guy has a silly name. Let's have some fun. It's not, you don't need to have like a degree in marketing and advertising to figure this shit out, guys.
You know who actually does it really well is the NFL, crazy enough. Because, like, remember the Titans had that one on the street, the schedule announcement where it was all the bachelorette parties, and they had to guess the team logo. Yes. The Chargers always have, like, funky shit going on. They have Jim Harbaugh, who's a fucking weirdo in his own right. So that's going to be a bunch of content. And it's, like, it's kind of nice to see the Mets not shooting themselves in the foot. And if they do, they kind of laugh and be like, look, I shot my fucking toe off, guys. Like, the social media team, we said it, like there's definite changes here, and it's not just on the field, it's off the field as well.
On social media, they're not shooting themselves in the foot.
Right.
On the field.
Right. It was crazy, by the way, that you just said, remember the Titans.
Yeah, that is kind of funny.
Wow. It's wild to have that come up in a regular sentence. I'll tell you what else is wild. That play at the plate. That play at the plate is wild for a number of reasons. And I'm not going to do what you all think I'm going to do, which is just flip out, because I actually am somewhere in the middle on this one. Because I think that catcher should be able to do what he did last night. Like, it's not the rule, but, like, I think that should be the way baseball is played. So I'm not going to clutch my pearls and be like, he was blocking the play, because it's like, that's the way I believe the game should be played. But I also understand that if you're going to have this rule where you're not allowed to knock catchers over, and so in turn, you're not allowed to block the plate, then that's got to be like strictly enforced, because that dude had absolutely no fear that a fucking polar bear was going to just shoulder him and, probably break a collarbone because, how many years ago now? It's probably 10 or whatever. It's probably longer than I realized, but however many years ago they changed the rule. And in the past, you would have been like, I'm going to block the plate and I'm just going to like get lit up. And that's what's going to happen. Or he would have stepped out of the way and not been able to risk it. But this is just kind of like, I'll stand on the plate and I'll just move my upper body. So I'm not out of the, and you get to do like the best of both worlds as a catcher. So you totally fuck him over. But then on the other side, keep your fucking hand down, Pete. None of this would have mattered because you would have just been safe. You can't have your hand. And I mean, I say this as a guy that if I just slid headfirst right now, I would break my shoulder, hurt my neck, and my arm would probably be up in the sky. So I'm not saying it's easy, but if you're going to do that, your other hand was flat on the fucking ground. If he just went like this, we don't care about blocking the plate or any of it because you would have just been flat out safe.
Yeah, Pete, we've said this about Pete in the past. His base running from every single part of his base running is a fucking adventure, right? It's like the way he runs, he lumbers, he slides funny. He obviously he's not fast in traditional sense. So it's like, what the that?
Well,
anyone else?
Pete though, like that's not what we have him. I don't,
Oh, yeah, of course not. It's like Precious Achua with the Knicks. It's like he's just gonna do crazy shit around the basket. I've learned that. Pete is 1 billion times more valuable to his team than Precious Achua. It's just like the same kind of shit. It's like just chaos is about to erupt when that man is on the base path. And I'm like, the fact any other Met somehow gets to home plate just fine, but with Pete, it's like you know it's going to be an adventure.
Although I will say, shout out to him in that scenario. I wouldn't even think he's going to make it a play. You know what I mean? Or now,
I was surprised it was that close.
Get there to even make it close. I mean, it was a money relay by the Cubs too. You got to tip your cap a little bit, but it was kind of like Pete. I'm sure. Knowing Pete Alonso, he would have loved to just tackle that guy rather than have to slide like a little Mary. So I'm sure he was like, well, I'm not allowed to do what I would absolutely do. So I'm sure that was in his head. Now, but Kyle, you would probably know better at playing at somewhat of a high level. Is that like some people were saying like you should be sliding feet first or you should be like that's not the right way to slide? I'm like, I don't really know. I think had he put his hand down, I think it would have been a fine slide otherwise.
His hand bounced off the ground, so it was down, and the pressure of him sliding made it pop up, which like you really can't control. You can try as much as you want to, but he weighs what 240, whatever he weighs, But it's so I'm on the same page as you. It's bullshit that the rule even exists. Like it's been that way for 100+ years that you're allowed to block the plate, but that also goes with the fact that you used to be able to run him over. So the play itself, like he's out. But the fact that this is a real fucking rule and that we have gotten already screwed over on it a couple times, you can't do it both ways. And Mendoza, which I love that the umpire forgot to shut off his microphone, being like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we have actual photos from the memo from MLB with examples of what they can't do. And one of the things is they can't step on the plate. That counts as blocking it.
Well, that's what the worst part for the runner is that it is extremely black and white. Did you barrel someone over or did you not? And when you're blocking the plate, it's like, like I said, you can kind of put your foot there, kind of not. But one of the things that is like point blank is no foot on the plate. Because
unless you have the ball in your possession,
right,
and it's like clear as day. But it sucks because the umpire who's on the field didn't make the call. So he's just like, I'm just the messenger. You can't shoot me.
Right.
You can't. He's like, you're arguing with me. Guess what? I don't give a fuck because I didn't make the call. So it just like you're arguing against air. But as far as it goes, if he's going to slide head first, it needs to be a sweeping tag. Then he slides head first and he gets his arm in there, like away from the plate. He's sliding straight in. I mean, but again, it's faster to go head first, but if you go with your cleats, you can at least raise your cleat up and get him in the chest.
Yeah.
Another way to knock him over.
Right. Yeah. Dirty, you have to get more contact.
Do I give a shit? No. Yeah.
But I just feel like people are saying that it's not like he had his arms flailing. Like his hand came like 3 inches off the ground. When you slow it down and you see his hand go up and the plate's right there, it's so frustrating. But people were like, "Oh, it's the worst slide of his life," and it's like his hand moved this fucking much, guys. And like
if he calls him safe on the field, he's probably safe in the review to overturn.
Yeah. Well, what sucked was there was a big like tuft of dust that blew up when his hand was clear when it was over the plate, and then as it went down there was dirt everywhere, and it was like, did it touch it, did it not? So there might be wiggle room if the initial call, and I'm surprised the initial call was out, because I thought on first look I thought he got his hand in, so I thought that was kind of fucked up. That to me, if it's going to be bang bang like that and it looks like you give the edge, like the call in the field I think should be to the edge of like how it looked, and I thought it really looked like he got in there.
It's either got to be that you're in front of the plate or that you're straddling the plate, because as soon as he drops his knee down, you're fucked.
You're fucked.
Like, and there's no recourse for it at all.
There needs to be like a catcher's box that's like out in front of the batter's box that you're like, you have to stand in there while the ball's coming in, or behind it, or something, because it is, like I said, it's too vague. It's very clear what the runner can and can't do. And then the catcher, it's very vague what he can and can't do. And then even the one thing that's not vague, stand on the plate, doesn't get enforced, because he stands on it, but then he moves it, or he's standing on it, and the ball, did he have it? Did he not have it? It's all
they had the freeze frame overhead of him, just like very clearly. He started at the back of the plate, and then he's standing right on the middle of it, and the ball's in the frame, and it's not in his glove. It's like, well, if you're not going to enforce it, it's a new rule. I get it. They're going to make mistakes, but they should have never been in that position in the first place. Well, Jose Butto throws a quality start, and they can't get a fucking run. And the night before, they had four runs that were all unearned. Like, we haven't scored runs at all this series.
Yeah. No,
I mean, your boy, too, shut him down, Kyle. That was your boy.
Yeah.
Wanted him.
That's right. You were the one saying, forget about Yamamoto. This guy's the one we should be looking at.
Shada, he's good.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously the bigger problem when you're really talking about the team. Everyone's talking about this one play, but I mean, this is this is kind of what I think we all felt at the beginning of the year, and I think we're right at 500, right? 15, maybe, yeah.
Mhm.
So like, how did you feel? Obviously, you want to win the game and you're happy about it, but how did the 8 innings of Severino make you feel?
I'm happy that we had it's like for short term, it's like, all right, Severino, maybe we have a guy here. Maybe he, down the road, we have him for a few years because we know with the Yankees when he was good, he was good. Big picture, I'm like, Stearns is fucking finding these guys.
Yeah,
He's just fucking finding them.
Yeah.
And like that is the most important thing because, I mean, we were all, fucking Epler mode, and we convinced ourselves the pervert was going to be a great GM.
We had a bad run. As fans who had to spin shit, we had a bad run.
Brody is an agent. Who knows guys better than Brody? It's like
Brody. It was Brody, and then there was 2, right?
Yeah, we had the pervert and like the drunk.
Who's the drunk?
Yeah, the alleged drunk driver, Zach Scott.
I thought he was the pervert.
Yeah.
Pervert.
Who's the drunk? These are not. Neither are. Well, one guy might be a pervert. I called the other guy.
DUI guy didn't even. There was no charges. He just got fired.
Bro, if you put a gun to my head, and if you said here's $1 billion or a bullet, you got to tell me the name of the Mets GM who got the DUI in between Brody and the pervert. I don't even think I could come close.
So the Zach Scott was the DUI guy.
Oh,
okay. Well then,
now I cannot.
Apologies to that guy.
I cannot get the pervert's name. I just looked it up.
I just remember the picture of him with the headband and his fat face that he was selfieing people.
I'll see if I'll give the chat.
Give me initial.
JP.
Nope.
Isn't it crazy? This was
our guy. Yeah, this was
2 years ago, 3 years ago. 3 years ago.
It's got to be either like
Porter.
Jack. What?
Porter. Jared Porter.
Jared Porter.
Yeah, I should have known the pervert was the drunk.
I can't make it. And then who was the GM before Brody? Then actually no, because didn't we have like a 3-headed monster for like a day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was that was like the Sandy DiPodesto and the other guy.
DiPietro.
No, it was DiPodesto.
Paul DiPodesto.
Yeah, he went to the NFL.
Oh.
Remember that?
Yes, he went to the Browns.
Yeah.
Is he the Jonah Hill character? He's the one based on Jonah Hill?
I think so, yes. Yeah. That one I didn't mind at the time because it was like, I remember thinking, if you do Moneyball, but you also have the couple big free agents, it all should come together. It didn't. I mean, we were good, but it didn't work.
So that's the biggest point is the Severino thing. It's like if Stearns is the guy and stays the guy and doesn't get busted for perving or drinking while driving or whatever the fuck else, it's like at the end of the day, I'm like, I can sleep soundly. Last night's game, for example, us last year, definitely like 2 or 3 years ago, we would have had a 300 tweet, or Kevin would have had a 300 tweet tirade, quote retweeting people, fighting the entire internet, fighting the rule book and shit like that.
Yep.
And then it's like, up today, game starts, and we win 4-2.
Well, so that's also what I meant when I was asking you how you felt, because, and this is just kind of this is this new experience I'm going through as a Mets fan for the first time, and I think you're a little bit there with me, and I wonder if some of the people my age are, and I'm just not as maniacally into it. And I'm watching Severino, and he's throwing not only a no-hitter, but he's at like 75 pitches in the 7th, and I'm sitting there going like, because sometimes it's like you're not going to be able to finish this because I know how many pitches you have, and like it's not realistic. But we're getting there, and he's money, and the whole time I'm like picturing him as a Yankee, and I'm like, I barely know this guy yet, and it wasn't like, maybe it was because we had such a long run of like homegrown pitching, and then even like Verlander I loved, so I was like, bring him in and I can root for him right away, even though we never really got to. But I don't know, it was a weird feeling to be like any other Mets no-hitter. We obviously have not had the most success in that one little stat column. Usually it's like, call your friends, get excited, get your.
Don't call your mom though, Kevin.
I texted him. Did you see the text? I put it up. I texted my mom and my brother, and I said, "This is your like announcement. Luis Severino is pitching. He's only allowed 1 walk, and that's it. Nothing else except the 1 walk." And my mom wrote back like, "I get it." And then he gave a hit. So maybe it was me. Maybe I mushed it from saying anything. But boy, by the way, gone are the days where we even remotely entertain that. It's just all the announcers talk about, all anybody said, and I get that. It's silly that the broadcast can't like be superstitious, but right away when it hits the 7th inning, MLB.com puts the red box around you, no hitter. It's like all of it is forget about the superstition. But I just, ordinarily that would have been me like, franking, chewing on my shirt and like freaking out. And I think maybe it was also deep down. You can take it to the bank. If the New York Mets are pursuing a no-hitter or a perfect game or something, and it's like 1-0, 2-0 like that, they're going to lose not only the no-hitter, they will lose the game. It's just like once you lose it, something will happen and the whole thing fucking opens up. It's just, even though Severino was still dealing and had a low pitch count, I honestly think once that happens, you should take a guy out. I think there's something like mentally you like kind of just like, it pours out of you. I would just put the next guy in.
Well, Joey Wendell wasn't watching the fucking ball game all game long. How do you get a broken back ground ball hits you with a runner on third? He's out by 30 feet and you try to turn a double play. Like, aside from the fact that we haven't scored any runs at any point, the play is always to home. And you just watch this guy throw a no-hitter through almost 8 innings. And you go to second?
And the play is right in front of you. Like, there was no, he was turning this way and the runner was behind him. It's literally, as you picked up the ball, you could see that guy was 75 feet away from home. Like,
in a no-run ball game.
Right. In a game
with 1 inning left to play.
I mean, I know he's thinking get the double play, but you're not doing that on a slow hit, broken bat from the
not with Jeff McNeil at second base. Yeah, he's the only defensive replacement we have that has just fucked us on defense. Like anytime they put him in, he makes errors, and then we lose the ball game and lose the lead.
Anytime at the beginning of the inning, they're like, Mets make defensive purposes changes. I'm like, no, they didn't. No, they didn't.
In a weird way, it's good to have Joey Wendell in our lives because there is a player that's just easy to hate. Like, we always need one. Every fan base needs one, not just Mets fans. So it's good. Kev, I also didn't think of that side of the Severino thing, him being an ex-Yankee. You were so sick and twisted in the dark side. Like, I was thinking the other way. I'm like, I can't wait to be like, hey, Yankees fans, thanks for the guy that just throws no hitters.
No, I should be thinking that way.
You should be thinking, yes.
It's like I'm still like, like you came from the other team, the other side. But that's because like I think I'm just so like I honestly am such a chick who's trying to date again after like I thought I was engaged to be married and this guy left me at the altar like Love is Blind. And now I'm like, I can't date anybody again after 2022 because I thought I had it. And now I'm just like, I can't pour my heart into Luis Severino yet. I just can't. I'm trying. I'm watching. I'm rooting. But it's just not like feeling it the same way. Again, this tight game, no hitter. I should be like, let's fucking go. And instead, I'm just sitting there like, I don't know. And they're probably going to lose. It's probably going to happen. I'm stuck in some limbo. I used to be like Frank, and then I got like positive, and now I'm like, I don't know who I am.
You're just a jumble of hot and cold, basically. A song of ice and fire is your soul as a Mets fan.
It's all part of the Cohen experience of like turning this whole thing around. It's not going to be done in a day. You're not going to just go from loser to winner. That's why I get the whole Mets fan base and the way they act always confuse me because it's like we've seen so much worse than this, but you guys act like this is as bad as it can be, or a couple game losing streak is the end of the world. And I mean, I know, listen, I threw the console 5 games in, so I have my moments, but it's like in the big picture, this is still we're still heading in the right direction. And because of what you said too, Stearns, anybody can sign a big free agent, and maybe you hit and maybe you don't. Maybe you get a Correa, maybe you get a fucking Max Scherzer, who knows? But being able to like find these plug and play guys for low value or low risk, high value, that to me is like what it's all about.
That's how
anybody can spend Cohen's money. So good on him so far. I give him, A+ to start the year of like working with what he's given. Like,
Reed Garrett alone is already brought him enough goodwill until All-Star break. Seriously.
Can he be the MVP?
He is.
I might get MVP votes. It's
got 5 wins.
He is insane, man. And on the other side, I didn't think I would maybe ever again see a moment with Diaz like we saw whatever game that was.
That was the same one. That's why I didn't even blame it. I was like, it's
yeah. Right. That was just like all a mess. That was, I literally went like that. Like I was like, was that a replay? Like of 2019? Like what just happened? Of course he's gonna have he's never gonna be like he was again. God, that's why that year was like so perfect. It was so I mean, everything aligned.
I say this like once a year on one of the podcasts at Barstool. My buddy said it. I think I was in college one day. It was like a snowy day. Go in the gym, like basketball gym, and like I slipped and fell. And he goes, "Dude, you always need to slip and fall just so you know you can get back up, because there's gonna be a day where you can't get back up, right?" And like with Diaz, it's like I kind of just needed to be reminded that he's a fucking human being out there, because it's like, all right, this game's over. I mean, he was going in, 10th inning, we got him in the 9th inning, 8th inning if we needed. He's just shutting down
matter what
these lineups. Even if he like gets a guy on base, he still gets out of it. And just seeing that, it was like I did the Darth Vader when the Millennium Falcon and Empire just fucking this hyperdrive gets fixed, and he just does like the double take. I was like, what? Like that can happen? And that was our lives as Mets fans. That would be the reaction I get when our closer did a 1-2-3 inning back in the day.
Right.
And the fact that it was the opposite and he blew the save, it was like, we have come a long way. And for all the shit, as much as we hated the Kellenic deal when it happened, partially because it was like Cano on the books with the Wilpons here, it just seemed like he was going to be an anchor. And obviously the balls with Diaz just going out of the park at an alarming rate in 2019. It's like he kind of did save us from that like fear of the 9th inning. So
that's why, I mean, he changed my life because of like my personality as a human being was probably molded by Mets relievers from 1995 to 2022. Like genuinely the person that I am, always negative, always pessimistic, not going to count it until my eggs hatch. Don't get ahead of yourself. All of that shit goes back to Mets relievers for the first 30 years of my life. And then even when he started getting good in 2021, I was like, nope, I still remember when he broke our hearts. And then he was so good. He erased all of that. And not only did he erase the past, what you just said, if he walked the first batter, I'd be like, it's fine. Okay. He's going to strike out the next 3. That, for me to feel that way, like it's one thing if you have a great season and nobody even gets on base and it's like, wow. But he was so good that a leadoff walk in the 9th inning of a close game, every time that happened, I would go, that run's scoring. That run's coming around. Anytime it's a leadoff walk, that run comes around 100% of the time. And I watched Diaz work through that phase, and I got to the point of it'll be fine. That is incredible to do that to like who I was as a person. And then I had to be reminded, like, it's not going to be that way ever again. Like that was, he'll be good again, maybe even great again. It'll never be 50% strikes out with, a whip of 0. It'll never happen again.
A fucking movie scene every time he enters the ball game, right? Like it was magic. It was magic. We'll be telling our grandkids about that one. Let me tell you about Tippy Trumpet.
Even right now, it's 10 innings pitched, 17 strikeouts,
Jeez.
And a whip below 1. Like he is just the guy. Like, and that's the craziest thing, because the only other time that's ever happened, I never remember that we even had K-Rod. Like, that's not something in my mind. It was Armando Benitez and fucking Familia.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Because even guys like K-Rod was the king of loading the bases and giving up 2 when you had a 3-run lead and getting the save. Familia had that.
Billy Wagner. Like, there was just like, we would always get the guy, and then he would no longer be the guy.
Bro, when we had
Billy Wagner was good, though.
When we had Wagner, was it Wagner and JJ Putz or K-Rod and JJ Putz?
It was Wagner and I believe it was Wagner.
No. Wagner
It might have been
JJ Putz from the Mariners to be our 8th inning guy. And I was like, we are fucking locked and loaded. And like they both just sucked. And it was like it never came.
I thought it was Wagner, Duaner Sanchez, and Feliciano.
That was for sure.
That was like Feliciano are the best reliever we've had. That's not a closer.
I mean, remember, rest in peace. Very famously,
Yes.
I tried to get him on the team once he was dead. That sweeping curveball or whatever, that sweeping ball over the plate worked every time. I'll never forget that. I was like, "Can we get Pedro Feliciano?" And you guys were like, "No."
2009 New York Mets. K-Rod was the closer. Putz was, in name the setup man, but obviously our fucking old friend, the WBC, came in. That's when he got hurt. 1-4 with a 5.22 ERA, our big pickup of the offseason.
I remember being like, that's, we got the best closer in the league and like the second best closer in the league, and he's going to be our 8th inning guy. Like, we're fine. And it just never came to be.
Yeah. Perpetual Pedro went a solid. He went 59 innings, nothing too crazy for his other shit. 6-4 with a 3.03. I love Perpetual Pedro.
Dwanner just never like pitched again after he got hurt.
I think he went to did he go back to the Dodgers?
Or like, I'm sure he literally pitched again, but like he was never a thing again.
So he came back in 08 for us, which I don't even remember. 5-1 with a 4.3 ERA. Then the next year, Padres 1-1 with a 9 ERA, and then never pitched again. So,
I think I brought this up before, but like, do we really
should sue that cab company for damages?
Do we really believe that story though? It's so weird. Like, what did he tear something in a car accident? Like, it wasn't like the car flipped and shit, right? Like, no. What happened there? We just kind of were like, oh yeah, he like tore his arm in a car. What? That's never happened before or after to like anyone ever again.
And it was like he was like eating
late night Dominican
in Miami. It's like
in the age of social media, we would have gotten an actual answer, but it was just like Newsday, like little blurb. Like, by the way, our season's fucked.
Do you think there's a chance he was like drunk and looking for food and he was roughhousing with his friends, or he slipped and fell out at a club and they were like, let's just say we got in a car accident? Because it's just like, what? Have you ever heard of that? What did he put his hand out and like
thing? Remember that? The Jose Fernandez, the boat accident when he passed away.
Well, I mean, that was insane, but it just I just remember hearing that and being like, oh, okay. It was back when you just read the newspaper and that was it, and there was no like further questions, Your Honor, and that was the worst because that made us trade Xavier Nady for Roberto Hernandez, and Xavier Nady at the time was a fucking great, middle to back of the lineup bat, and
we got Ollie too. So then we were on the Ollie roller coaster for like the next 5 years. So it's
which worked out in some ways, but also even the good times were like such a roller coaster that I'm like, that took years off my life too. God, I will never forget having to go into a Game 7 with Ali Perez, and he did his thing, but I was like, we're gonna what? Who? Huh? How are we gonna do that?
Oliver Perez, and we chased that right-handed bat that we had with Nady, because then it was a Lou, and then it was Jason Bay down the road, and it's like it all started at that car accident, man. It's fucking horrific. So, and you know what? How did that all get brought up? Edwin Diaz, like the bullpen has, because it brings everyone back. It's like you could have Ottavino 7th and 8th. We saw last year when Ottavino has to be the closer. It's like everything just went to shit.
I do think. Kyle, I think you were talking about it. I think it's a little. They've been using Edwin a lot in tie game situations.
I don't get it. I don't understand why they just keep putting him in the 9th, because it's very clear that we can't score any runs. So it's like the 10th inning. It doesn't. In my head, it doesn't matter that you're using him to get to the 10th inning, where then you have a runner on second base. It's like you should put him in that situation. Right. Maybe it's him. Maybe he's like, I don't want to start. I want to start with a clean inning. I don't want a runner behind me, type of thing.
Sure,
but he's more likely to get them not to score that one run, and then all we have to do is manufacture one run and we win.
Those runs don't count against you, right?
No, they don't.
Yeah, but there could be something where he's like, no.
Psychological.
But to me, it's like, you're right. I'll take my chances. Our offense has been so inept. Let's get to the free runner with our guy. Like, you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but if we can just get through this one inning with Reed Garrett or whoever else, get lucky maybe, then let's use him when we potentially drive a guy across the plate.
Well, everybody just assumes they're going to score at least one because you have the runner on second. So, but if you have Edwin Diaz who strikes out the world and eliminates that, all then we have to do is bunt and hit a sac fly by theory.
But you know what? It's so funny to say that, because if it's the 6th inning and someone hits a leadoff double, are you like, oh, we're absolutely scoring?
No, because they don't play that brand of baseball anymore.
Yeah, it's just like, well, and I get what you're saying, because you can play for the sac fly, but it's like, just because, at least with the Mets, I don't know how other fan bases feel. Just because a man's on base does not mean he's scoring. Let me tell you what. We got the bases fucking loaded, nobody out, and it doesn't mean a thing. So, but yeah, I think that would probably be a smarter move than to kind of just burn him in the inning right before you're going to get a free runner.
And I do think, kind of going back to what we said earlier, in terms of like feeling like whether it was 22 that did this to us or just realizing baseball regular season is a crapshoot. They keep adding wild cards. It's like it's not life or death. I couldn't imagine being a baseball fan in the 80s and before then, when you only had whoever won their division would make the playoffs. Like imagine winning 100 games. Like
that year,
85 Mets, right?
Well, I was gonna say it was the last year. I think it was 93. And then there was the strike.
Oh, the Giants year?
The Giants. They won. I think they won 104 or something like that, and they didn't make the playoffs because the Dodgers won like 108 or some shit, crazy shit like that. It's like if that happened, I mean, it kind of almost did. But imagine if we closed out Oakland strong and beat the Braves and had 100 and something wins, and like they were just like, nope, you're going home. That is crazy.
I don't know if it's because of all the wild cards and whatever, or just realizing it, or just getting older, or the fact 22 just ripped a part of our soul off that will never come back. But it's like I think baseball is best consumed where it's like you root for your team, you get high when they win, you get a little low when they lose. But it's like the rally pimps and the welding hot dog eaters and the Seymour Wieners. That's kind of like the best part about baseball. And we kind of get that in spades. So I'm going to like try to enjoy that shit more. And obviously the wins, hopefully more than the losses. But I think that's kind of the way to go. And that's kind of the way I think we have to do the podcast until we're just winning 100 games again, which again, I'm sure that's when the fan base will be like, this team stinks. Fucking, fire everybody. So
by the way, that was, I looked it up. The Giants won 103 games. Did not make the playoffs because it was a team that won. Yeah, the Braves won 104. So
and then they came to the East and just ran the East.
And then they realigned, and then they've just been butt fucking us ever since.
It's such bullshit. Atlanta's not in the West.
What the fuck were they? That was so weird. That was so fucking weird.
Well, I guess they were probably the Milwaukee Braves when it was like a thing.
But even that is like.
Yeah, right? I'm sure it was because you have to think in the early days of baseball, it's right all of like the fucking coastal teams, and then Milwaukee was like, "Holy shit, we got to fly out to Milwaukee." So
I heard. Is it true that Minnesota will be in the East in the NBA with this expansion? I heard that was happening.
Oh, fuck! Is that true?
I don't know. I heard it from somebody that I can't remember. I was like, I don't know if that's true or not, but that would kind of make sense. I mean, by the way, that Knicks game.
All right, we'll go into the Knicks segment of the pod now. That is brought to you by DraftKings. Baseball season is heating up. NBA season's at a fever pitch, but baseball season is heating up, and DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps, is giving new customers a swing at turning $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets with any baseball bet. Tonight, we have Guardians versus Astros. There's not a lot of baseball on the board at night. Just some day games if you want to, dabble in some day games tonight. I was just looking to see what's out there. There's a guy on the Astros. I kind of love this guy, Spencer Arrighetti. Maybe it's just I'm a Dave Righetti guy. I just love the name Spencer Arrighetti. Astros, who have been absolutely terrible this season, minus 130 at home against the Guardians. They got Logan Allen going to the bump. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BELIEVE. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BELIEVE. The crown is yours. I believe the DraftKings is the reason our boy Meek Phil is in one of the. I don't even know which Dakota it is.
Why is he there?
They're doing a contest at Pick Central, and I believe it's like it's only in certain states, so everyone has to go to that state in order to enter it. And they all, I think, pick names like states out of a hat. So Ev got, I think, South Dakota. Clemmer got North Dakota. And Phil is going to go with them to a few because he's a part of the show. And he's like, I'll just do the 2 Dakotas. And I'm like, Meek the Freak has never been more of a freak in his life than saying, I'll go to the 2 Dakotas. Unless maybe they have really good milk there. We know he's a milk guy, right?
Dakota Meek. Jesus
Dakota
Christ.
Meek.
Yeah, that game was about as tough as it gets, man. I mean, I guess it's payback for being on the right side of a 8 points in 28 seconds or whatever, but I think we were up 6 with 25 to go. And what's crazy, and I know I've been, you're the diehard here, Clem, and you've been watching them all year, but I think you would probably know this better than anybody. Like, they are a good end of game team. They are conditioned. They don't get tired. They don't run out of gas. They execute. And they were, and I totally mushed it because it was probably right at that point when they were up 6. And because a lot of people have been saying the Knicks just want it more. They're getting those rebounds. And I was like, no, I think they are in better shape. And I think they execute better and they're better coached. And that's why it's happening. And I said the word execute. I was like, it's just execution. And then right away was the 4-point play. Right away was, not fouling up 3. Right away was the Brunson turnover. And I was like, oh, these guys are not executing at all. And then even out of OT, Brunson hits the 3. Brunson drives to the lane. You're up 5 right away. And I was like, all right, yeah, these guys are just going to keep going because the Sixers are out of gas. And then Tyrese Maxey happens. And that guy does not get enough credit, man. That guy is awesome.
You said it. Tyrese Maxey executed us.
Yeah, he really did.
Like you said, this team is tough, and I've been like, "Oh fuck, Game 6, and then if we lose tonight on the road, it's going to go back to 7." By the way, 9 p.m. is an absolutely
insane,
atrocious.
Atrocious.
I feel like Francesa.
That is. We're basically scheduling around Indiana, Milwaukee. It's like, what the fuck is going on? But I guess that's a West Coast thing. They want the Knicks, it'll be honest.
They have 2 East Coast teams, and you're alienating an entire fan base.
Truly, 9 p.m. start, and it's probably maybe like 9:15, right? Because it's
they don't listen to tip-off times in the NBA. They do not give a fuck about tip-off times in the NBA.
I mean, that is a nightmare, dude.
And I looked it up. Indiana's, I was going to say those are 2 central time zone teams. Indiana's technically Eastern time. Indiana, they probably live their life by central time.
Who cares?
It's Indiana.
Make Indiana and Milwaukee do it. Make them play at noon. Who fucking cares about them? Nobody. Nobody cares about them.
So it's tough. And like you said, this team, it's tough. They're a tough team. I've been freaking out. A lot of Knicks fans are like, dude, just handle business. It's exactly like the unfortunately 2022 Mets, where I'm like, if this team is what they've shown me that they are all year, they're tough. They don't if they fuck up, they say all right and they go and handle business. And I said, if they don't do it in 22, they don't deserve it. And that's exactly unfortunately what happened. I'm hoping it doesn't happen here. But it's exactly the same deal. Everything that this team is, they're smart, they execute, yada yada yada. I had a lot of those old 90s Knicks flashbacks because the 90s Knicks were tough, but they did not execute. They were fucking stupid at all the worst moments. Starks would always get too hot-headed, headbutt Reggie Miller and get suspended for a game, do something stupid. Him and Starks and Oakley would throw that baseball pass that would go out of bounds when it's just hold the ball, we go up 5.
There was a lot of those.
Hart and OG did a few of those. I had a lot of flashbacks with those too.
Dude, that was... You reach a point, especially in any playoff basketball, but late into a series where you're like, all right, we know what this opponent is, and we know how this game's going to go. And every possession matters, Yep. And it's like they got the Sixers would turn it over, and they would push the ball, and it's like no. Like that's like found money. Take your time right now, slow it down, eat some clock, because they just fucked up. And they would push it and jack up a 3, or they would try to a long baseball pass out of bounds. And it was times to me, and maybe I'm just an old school basketball guy, times to me where it was slow down, run a set, eat some clock, and go to the fucking hoop. Try to get a bucket or maybe draw a foul. And I know that today everybody shoots 3s, but it's that Brunson wanted to shoot that 3. You could see it before he even jumped. And then he was fucked and threw it out of bounds. And it's well, if you had just gone to the hoop like you did all game long, you would have been fine. So some of that, that execution did just go out the goddamn window. What really sucks on an overall picture, and I didn't think this was going to happen to start the series, but it clearly has. Embiid is healthy enough that a 2-seed nightmare happened. A 7-seed is basically a 2-seed with Joel Embiid. And when the series started, I was like, he's not healthy enough to matter. And he's still hurt, but he's healthy enough to matter. So this really isn't a 2 versus 7. This feels like an Eastern Conference Finals matchup at this point because he's big enough of a presence to still matter.
How concerned are you guys with
too? So he's out there.
How concerned are you guys with his guarantee?
He threw out a guarantee.
Game 2, he was like, we're not losing this series. And to say that in the fashion they were playing and how the game was going, to turn around and do that. And then you have all the Knicks guys in the office saying he's not a real villain. Like, you actually have to win something to be a villain. Like, the setup that you guys are getting for this, if this does go to Game 7, it's like you can't touch the money on the table in either direction. But like the fact that he's that much of a factor and he's like, we're not going to fucking lose, I'd be a little nervous.
He does though. I mean, every fourth quarter he is winded. Like, thank God if they didn't have Tyrese Maxey, thank God for Sixers fans, because Tyrese Maxey is the reason. I mean, he played good defense and like he's obviously a presence that allows Maxey to do what he does. But I feel like if it was on him, I think this series would have been over, because Maxey, granted, he walked, he traveled before that shot, but whatever, we shouldn't have fouled him. I think if Maxey got the respect he deserves, and I think the respect that's going to come like after this postseason, like if you're playing against the Warriors and you're up by 5 and Steph Curry does what Maxey does, it's one of those things where you go, we got Curry. Like Steph was Steph. But because Tyrese Maxey's not on that level yet, it's just like, oh, that was a brutal loss. But I think when it's all said and done and you look back, I think it's going to be like, that's the kind of shit Tyrese Maxey does. He's a fucking baller.
He's awesome.
That's his team as far as the rest of the series goes in my mind. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not diehard enough to really know. Like from what I've seen with the Knicks, it feels like they don't like get rattled, and they are like a good cohesive team where they'll be like, we're just going to go out and play our game again, and it's not going to get to them. But I don't know. There also is just some part of it where 3-1 is like, it's kind of like a 2-goal lead is the worst in hockey. It's like 3-1, 3-0 is like you have so much wiggle room that you're fine. But 3-1 is like, well, now we better get it done now, because it's the classic Red Sox. Don't let us win. Don't let us force 7, because anything can happen in a Game 7 sort of thing. So it's a dicey proposition, especially being in Philly. How about Michael Rubin and them buying up all those tickets because the Knicks fans have just taken over the city?
I love it, man. My favorite, upcoming neighborhood in New York City is Soto, south of the Turnpike. It's Soto. It's a beautiful place. A lot of Knicks fans down there. You can go watch a Knicks game probably anywhere. It's good. I'm happy that that's what it took for, Michael Rubin, who's like ruined baseball with the jerseys. It's nice to see that that's what it took for them to like actually help out the first responders.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, shit, they're probably the most overworked people in the world. It's fucking Philadelphia. And I'll tell you, the first responders are going to be busy tonight. If Knicks fans try to, assert themselves like they did in game 4.
I hope they don't like. I mean, what went on in Philly? What's that? The Wells Fargo Arena?
Yeah,
that was insane. The MVP chants for Jalen Brunson were as loud as they are in the Garden. There was times like I was in the kitchen, I could see my TV, I'm getting something, and I hear the crowd roar, and I look at the screen, I'm like, oh shit, did Philly score? No, the Knicks did. It was so loud for the Knicks that I was getting confused at times, because I was like, we're on the road. How I mean, Joel Embiid said it himself, like we're supposed to be a sports town. That was nuts. And I know people want to try to spin it as a negative. It's like, well, that's because tickets are so expensive. The only way you can get in a Knicks game is to go to Philadelphia. I don't care what the reason is. The fact that our fans are either in your city or hop on the train and go take over your arena. But I do get nervous that tonight is where Philly fans are like, we're not letting that happen again. And I think there's going to be punches thrown and all that shit. I don't want to be known as that fan base. I want to be known as the fan base that travels, but I think tonight is where it could get ugly, because now it's a known thing where it's like, last game, we didn't know what was going to happen. This game, if you turn to your left and someone's chanting for the Knicks, I don't know. It could get ugly, I think.
It got disrespectful out there with when they were putting the shit on the Wilt Chamberlain statue. I was like, Philly is a place where I tell people they're like, hey, I'm going to a Philly game. I'm going to wear I'm like, don't wear a Giants.
Don't fuck around.
If you want to wear a Giants jersey, you might get, you're going to get heckled, whatever. There's a chance. I have a buddy who got just sucker punched by a drunk Eagles fan.
It could happen.
It could happen. The fact that happened at a playoff game, and I know a good chunk of it is that city has been let down by this team so many times that they're just apathetic towards it all. It is
I saw people saying it's they are not on the Phillies and Eagles level.
Yeah,
but that's only because of the failure. Because I mean, they were the process was a thing in Philly. They were all about it until it just didn't work 10 times in a row. But if they do turn it on, What's crazy for both of these teams is that it's a first round matchup. Like I said, it feels like, the winner of this should get to go on to the finals, and it's only the first fucking
It's 99. It's 99 all over again. When the Knicks
Yeah.
became the 8 seed, the Heat were the 1 seed. And it's like, this should be the Eastern Conference Finals, but the Knicks were so banged up. Ewing was always at the fucking lockout meetings. He was out of shape.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Embiid, where by the end he's running on fumes, and you're like, can they make it through? And Houston was kind of the up and coming guy like Maxey. Maxey is like, it's so weird to have like a Knicks playoff killer that I don't hate with every fiber of my being. I'm like, that dude just fucking balls. And yeah, if he kills us, I'll probably have like some, but like he'd have to do some real shit, because like Reggie Miller was the 1A cocksucker motherfucker, and
Maxey just does it. He's not shit talking. He's not obnoxious. He just does it.
Trae Young is almost the opposite, where everyone tried to make him Reggie. I'm like, dude, Reggie Miller is so much better than that guy. Don't ever compare that guy.
Like 1,000 times. Trae Young had a couple good games.
I think his big game, he was like 8 for 26, and like
I know. It was really like the one shot really with Trae Young. But
yeah, exactly. And he bowed, like it's a social media thing. I get it. So it's very
with Maxey. I know that Embiid, like I said, is still a force, and so part of the reason why Maxey can get these shots is you have to double Embiid and shit. But at this point, every time I see somebody leave Maxey to double Embiid or go halfway, stop fucking doing it. Let Embiid prove himself in the fourth quarter at this point. I know we've seen what he can do. He scored 70 points. He's an MVP type. That was in the regular season, halfway through the year when he wasn't injured. I would much rather let Embiid score, do it himself than give Maxey any space. Every time he's open, he hits it. Every time you give him an inch, he takes it to the hoop. It's like, stop letting Maxey be the guy. Don't double. Just let Embiid carry the load, because especially if it's late in the game, he runs out of gas. And he is prone to, at this point, he really is like a dirty player. He's like a Grayson Allen type, where like you're either a player who has those inclinations to just throw out a foot or throw out an elbow or not. And he always does that. It's always just like a, oh shit, you got by me. And it's like a reflex where he hits you, pushes you, grabs you. He does it every fucking time now.
I never realized Embiid was that dirt. I never pay attention to it. I hear Celtics fans would say it, but it's like there is such like a Philly versus Boston like hatred there. But then you just see like the old videos and then the stats where he has more career flagrants than Draymond in like hundreds of less games. And it's like Draymond's known as, and he does the same shit, the flailing of the leg that kicks you in the balls, the stuff he's done this series with OG where he hip checked him, smacked Brunson on the head. Yeah, he should. I still think it should have been a flagrant 2 on Mitch. And
like 1,000. If that's not Embiid, if that's not a superstar, that's a flagrant 2. That's and people trying to compare that to what happened a couple weeks ago when I think Josh Hart like twisted somebody over, when it was like in a scrum and in a fight. When you're in the game playing, jumping up and down, and you're twisting somebody's fucking leg, that is like literally as dangerous as it gets. I think this has been, aside from like who wins this series and like the great play, I think it's like a coming out party for how fucking grimy and dirty and how much of a coward Embiid is on that shit. It's crazy. He just keeps doing it, and they just keep letting him do it. It's like,
it's everything we loved about the 96, but this is a much different NBA. It's like,
well, and I'll say, and the one thing that as a casual jumping in, it kind of cooled off the last couple games, but the first couple games of the series, every single play, someone is complaining about a foul. And not just like, ref, like he hit me, like this just demonstrative, like in the face and whining. It's like, these are just regular basketball plays, guys. Like sometimes they get called, sometimes they don't. Like, let's just keep the fucking game going. I know I sound like an old man here, but it was like, God almighty, guys.
Yeah, and speaking of the refs here, we have what's his name going on tonight? Scott Foster, aka the Extender, as he's known. So it feels like there might be a Game 7 coming our way, based simply on that fact.
The Extender is his nickname.
Is his nickname? Yeah. We're coming back. I remember my dad when I was a kid always saying, "Be like, it's Game 6, Knicks. It's going 7. That's what they just do." And, David Stern is playing a harp somewhere, just smiling down, looking at Scott.
The thing is. He was. It's true. Like, we laugh about it, but it's fucking true, man. As you start to learn about life and you see things, and it's like, even in our world, and then in like the internet world, like somebody's always just kind of puppet stringing. And if they can get 7 at New York in the Garden, like they like, They're gonna do that stuff,
7 p.m. prime time Derby day, where it is like that special day where you get the boxing match and
dare I say I would want it if it was the other way around. If the Knicks were forcing 7, I'd be like, this is amazing. But God, you don't want any of that smoke being up 3-1.
Yeah, I've learned that all the old feelings are coming back where it's like, this shit is so much fun. It's the best and it's the worst at the exact same time. It's playoff basketball. I've been waiting a very long time to have it back, and happy it is. So tonight, hopefully not Saturday. Hopefully we're just going game 1 Monday if they win tonight, or I believe Saturday. No matter what you got to do.
And I don't want to get ahead of anything, but it feels like the next round will almost be like a relief after this, but you never know. You don't want to look past anybody, and everybody in the NBA has stars now. It's pretty wild. I think it's just kind of the advent of the shooting. Like everybody can shoot threes, so you can have a superstar and then just surround them with 3-point shooters, and you're going to be a contender. But it feels like if you get through this, that it's almost going to be like a little bit easier next round. But I can't even start talking that way yet. Got a big game first.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.